So now we're going to learn about text align and text shadow. And we've already seen text align, but I just want to make sure it's included in our code base and that it deserves its own little point in this entire series. So it's going to be in there. So text align, text shadow. And text shadow does just what you think it does. It adds a shadow to text. And I'm going to show you how to use that. And there's a little, it's good to be shown how to use it, because otherwise when you look at the documentation, it could be like, whoa, that's wacky. So there's a nice shadow. And then here's text align, right? Like it aligns text, an inline element within its block level element is what that's doing. So here's the inline element, and the black border is the block level element. So it's aligning the inline element inside the block level element, which is what text align does. So one thing I want to point out, and there's no rhyme or reason to this that I found, but we've learned about the font shorthand CSS property, and the font shorthand CSS property is shorthand for 6 other CSS properties: font family, font size, font weight, font style, font variant, and line height, right? And so there's a whole lot of font going on there. Well, now we've slowly transitioned into text. We're going to text align, text shadow, text decoration, text indent. We saw text transform earlier, which if I highlighted that, I'd put it down with this group, but then it'd be all blue up there. But we've got some font stuff. We've got some text stuff for CSS properties. And, then we just randomly have line height in there. And so there's no logical way to think about that I've discovered. The closest that I can get to sort of understanding this naming is that, right, this is all sort of like, let me set my font. And oh yeah, by the way, and the line height. So this is the font, how it's going to work. And then here, now that I have text on a page, let me shadow it. Let me get rid of the underline or add an underline. Let me align it. Let me indent it. So the text is kind of, now that I have that text on a page, let me do something to it, right? Let me text transform it and make it all uppercase or whatever, right? Text transform does that uppercase deal. So anyhow, now we're going to look at text align and text shadow. And the thing to know about text shadow is right here. So text align, right, is just aligns it. Here we go. CSS property describes how inline content like text is aligned in its parent block element, right? So inline content. So you could use text align for something else, which is inline content. So let's just demonstrate that and get text align here, and we'll create a new folder, and this one's going to be 01, and then we're going to drop this in there, and then we will copy that, Control C, Control V, call it 02, and we have the CSS open. We'll split vertically, and cool, there's our CSS. So here div is a block level element. I can now add an image, and an image is an inline element. Images just get put one after the other in line, and the source is going to be go up a level, and I'm in this area, right? I went from this folder to that folder, go up one more level, and I'm now in this folder, go up one more level. I think I'm doing this right there. I lost my quotes. I hit insert on my keyboard. We'll get rid of the alt. And now, dang, I can't type. Hour's getting late. Now I could hit Control spacebar, get my code completion, 00 image, / Control spacebar, there's my pup. So I have an image, right? And so with my image, we can see what happens. And so come over here, and that image got text aligned center, right? So even took the image and put it in the center of the div. So the div, take all of my inline content, center it. That's what happened. All right, so that's text align center, and that's using it on an image because it's inline content too. So the next one is text shadow, and the thing to understand about text shadow is that it accepts a comma-separated list, X, Y, blur radius, and color. So XY means how far to move it over on the x-axis. So that's bring it over this way or bring it over that way. Y means how far to move it up and down on the y-axis. And so that's the XY part, right? Offset X, offset Y. And then blur radius, how much to blur this fuzz right here. And then finally color, what color do you want to make it? So your settings might be like text shadow, 1 pix, 2 pix, black. Meaning move it over 1 pixel on the X axis, 1 pixel on the Y axis, up, I imagine, 2 pixels blur, and then color black. So we could come over here and we could take a look at that letter. And I think this letter is the first one that I have here. Let's play with that. I'm going to do this split vertically. And so here I have H1, and here's my text shadow. I'm going to duplicate my original settings and just comment it out, and now we can play with this. So I'm going to do 0 on the X, and only 5 on the Y, and only 1 for the blur. Right, so let's see which way the Y went, up or down when it's positive. And we'll close all these pages here except for the A. And refresh. So it went down. So that's where the positive value goes. What if I made this a negative value? It went up. And so I could make this the 0 and do this one 5 pix. And that's my X, and it went to the right. If I make it negative, it goes to the left. And so I'll leave that 5, and I'll leave this 5. And then here's my blur, right? No blur there. It's pretty hard. And if I go 10, more blur. Pretty cool. So that's how I do it. And then I can just change the color right there. So that's basically how shadow works, text shadow works. And that's also, we'll see how we do shadow with elements and things like that. It works like that too. All right, so that's text align and text shadow. And just understanding that little bit right there, the XY, the blur radius, and the color, when you look at it in the documentation and you see that, it's like, wait a minute, what the heck's that mean? Particularly if you've never been exposed to this kind of stuff before. So yeah, that's how text shadow works and text align. And I don't think there's anything else to say about that in this video. One thing I will do, if you're still getting comfortable with the entire GitHub Git stuff, I'm going to run through just making sure that everything is committed because I have changes to commit. So if you are comfortable with it, stop watching this video now. And if you want to see how I do that, keep watching. So here's Git shell. I'm going to click on Git shell. And so that's popping up my terminal emulator. And just size this down a little bit, bring it over. And now I'm going to do a git status just to see what has changed. Oh, I got to change directories, go into documents, go into my repo. And now I could tell this is my repo by doing an ls, la, list all. And that dash means it's a flag. And so here I can see .git, this is my repo. So clear is the command I'm entering to clear my screen, and then git status. And I can see, okay, 025 formatting text. So I have a whole lot of formatting text here. I'm going to type clear, and I'm going to then type git add -- all. And git commit -m adds formatting text files, and then git push. So git add -- all, git commit -m adds these files, and then git push, and then cleared out git status, and it should say, hey, everything is up to date, and then I'll be able to find all those files on GitHub, and they'll all be current. And isn't that a cool way to share code? So as I work, I'm just pushing it up, it's being backed up. I have a history of what was committed when and of all my changes, and you could easily go there and download the code. So GitHub's super cool. All right, we're making great progress. Stick with me.